Helen Yee here with Eyes on the Game at Sanford MMA, being joined by the one and only Rory MacDonald. Now you're making your PFL debut against David Michaud April 29th and training here at Sanford. What's this whole experience been like for you?
It's been really good. There's a ton of great training partners here, a lot of guys my size, and amazing coaching. These guys really work hard and have a tough schedule. It's been able to push me and get into great shape and harden my mind and my body getting ready for this fight.
Now, what was that thing over here when you started training here that made you say, you know what, this is where I want to make my home?
Well, I came here last February, 2020 in February, and that's right kind of before COVID hit. Yeah. And I brought my family out here, kind of a vacation, kind of training trip. And so I checked it out, and I loved it. I fell in love with the environment, the coaching, all the guys. It was a great vibe. So I always wanted to come back, but because of COVID hitting, like literally right after I left, everything got shut down. I wasn't able to make it out. PFL shut down for all 2020, so I was training in Montreal exclusively, and then restrictions got really tight up in Canada, so I wasn't able to train properly for my upcoming fight in April. So I thought, Florida's open, the guys here are training hard. I'd already made my a relationship here, and I enjoyed it, so I felt like this was a great place for me to get the work in, not have to worry about lockdowns or anything like that. So.
Absolutely, and with the beaches nearby and the nice weather, you can't really go wrong. But what would you say you learned the most about yourself during that year off in 2020?
Yeah, there was some good time for reflection. It was actually a blessing in disguise. When I first heard the news that PFL wasn't going to do any fights, I was kind of disappointed, but looking back, I'm actually pretty happy. I took some time after losing to Douglas Lima. I think that I wasn't fighting to my potential. I wasn't fighting hungry. I wasn't training like it, So I felt like that time off, I felt like I was able to get that hunger back, that passion for the sports, passion for training hard. And I got to analyze why I got a little bit soft. And, I took that time to harden myself mentally and physically. And I got back on track, and I'm preparing for that comeback fight, because I got goals now that I've set for myself in this sport, and I'm hungry to go out there and achieve them.
And I know all your fans can't wait to watch you return in April. But not only are you making your PFL debut, but Anthony Pettis, also former UFC fighter and champion, he just signed with the PFL. Were you surprised to hear that?
I think that was a great move by PFL and by Pettis. Testing free agency is a great thing for fighters, especially if they've built their name up. They have some value to their name, and I think that was really wise on his behalf. PFL's, I believe they're going to be moving up in the spotlight of main promotions in the sport. I think they're doing a great job. Getting new, strong talent that have that name, and they have a great format, and they're building every year. So I think it's a great addition. I'm happy to see him come along.
Now, you are only 31 years old, but no doubt are you one of the best welterweights in the world. You have such an incredible resume and have fought some of the toughest guys, as well as BJ Penn, Nate Diaz, Tyron Woodley, Stephen Thompson, Damian Maia, Carlos Condit, to Douglas Lima, and so many more. When you reflect on your career, was there always someone that you wish you could have fought and you haven't yet?
Not really.
I kind of fought most of them.
Yeah, I got to fight a lot of the top guys. BJ Penn was a really big one for me, because I always looked up to him as a young teenager when I started watching MMA. I got to fight a lot of the best guys out there, and I think that's a big blessing. I plan on climbing that ladder again and getting back to the top of the welterweight division, and that's a major goal of mine. So.
And I can't forget your new training partner or teammate here, the classic that you had with Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, for sure. It's been awesome to train alongside him, and he's a great guy. So I've had some good conversations and training.
Now, have you learned anything from him as well? Has he given you any advice?
Yeah, I believe, he's a super like wise guy. He's like, even when I was a teenager, he was fighting in the UFC, so he's got a ton of experience. He's tested, free agency. He's went outside UFC, come back, so he's got a wealth of knowledge in the cage and then also the business outside of it. So he's been awesome to learn from.
Now, someone that I just mentioned, Nate Diaz, it was just announced that he'll be fighting Leon Edwards coming up. What do you make of that fight, and who do you see winning?
I think it's a good fight. Both guys are aggressive and, hungry. I think it's probably a great fight to promote because they both like to talk, and, they're kind of like hard dudes. Yeah. As far as the actual competitiveness of the fight, I'd have to give it to Leon Edwards. But you can't count out Nate. He's a dog in there, and sometimes he'll surprise you because he's just so durable. The Diaz brothers are so durable, and they'll stay in your face and gas you out. So I wouldn't count him out in that fight at all. It's just I think Leon would probably have a bit of an edge in the striking department. I think he's a little more sharp, and I mean on the ground, but Nate's not a big wrestler. We'll see what happens, but I would give the edge to Leon.
What about that UFC title fight between Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal? That rematch, how do you see that one playing out?
Oh, that's a hard one. I now that Masvidal's got like a full training camp, it's more interesting than the first one because it was just at such short notice for Masvidal. I think it's going to be a more competitive fight. But Usman is just he's an animal, He's got such good pressure and good conditioning. I think that might be the factor again in this fight.
And lastly, for all your fans who can't wait to watch you return on April 29th, what would you like to let them know?
I'd like to let you know that I've been training extremely hard, refocused in my career in this last 2020 that I had off. And I feel like I'm going to be at my very best, and it's going to be an exciting fight, and I'm looking to go in there and dominate and finish this fight.